Oh, good. Suzanne got in. No, we started before that.
You win that.
I do, yeah. Hello.
You're a Rotary outfit.
I'm Rotary. Well, okay. Hopefully it works together. Let's see. Hi, Ed.
Audrey,
Yeah.
who should I send email?
Suzanne's on, so, yeah.
Okay. And this is why I went early, you know. So
Yeah,
right now we are
totally.
online.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So I can have actually lunch.
Yeah, yes.
Stay up.
Dr. Creagan, I'll put some water in your place.
Sure, thanks.
Unless you, Sarah, if you prefer to be here, whatever works for you. You have a preference where you want to sit? I'm just gonna get up and down a couple times to help with stuff. And then these are your books?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. I know he's got this abstract and just plays his stuff here on the thing, just so you your stuff. Would you rather set it over there?
No.
You want to leave it right there? Okay, you just tell me what your stuff. No problem. How are you guys?
Yeah.
As long as I can get in and out. It's not a good place to. I'd come up and say hello to Ed.
Yeah.
We started to work together over 50 years ago.
Yes.
We really did. We worked together.
And people need to know that you were the founder of Cancer Systems. You're the person who handled how many patients to be treated. Mental stop and the rest of the groceries.
Yeah. And I love to work with you. Yeah, we did. We worked together.
Because I just wanted to have science. So what that you together in terms of toxic chemistry. Okay. And you were the one to say, this ain't working.
No, you look like to have somebody saying, hey, you know, the data doesn't support this.
Not just enough.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson.
Okay, you met mine. How many years ago?
Yeah. I would be with him. You were doing it. You were doing it. You kept that.
I don't advocate because this sits this way. Some people force it. Okay. You are specifically written this so that people understand what the credentials they need to pay attention. This is a
guarantee I was
the one thing I picked up was a book was recently I want that in there. This relationship. Oh, I was going to ask you about that. Yes, this is not. Here's the picture. All right. So you, yada yada. Okay. And as if they yes.
Chris is the only one.
And health wise, you, mama, girls, blah, blah, things.
But I'm sure he did talk about that. So what?
That month later. Great. Really.
Got a question for you. When does this get done? What's the deadline? When does the former for the meeting? She started to get hers. It should be done.
Oh, she
She said she can hear it. Let me,
I am surprised because I believe that. I mean, if you move back, then you should. Because the sheet is, probably, you know.
Oh, really? That's
hey, so you only have to start with the big one.
We have an You're into the book. I was
Well, yeah, then you can swap out the pictures.
Absolutely.
No, you have your video off on your end. Like Suzanne, you're trying to see these.
They need to know.
So if you want us to be able to see, you need to start your video. There you are. I'm waving to you. Say hi to Suzanne.
Suzanne.
She says hi, Ed.
Suzanne, this is life transforming and you're not going to be here, baby.
He said this is, she's listening. Have grandbabies moving yet. Well, cool. I'm glad we got to work. All right. I will let you know then. Right. Now she can see us.
I don't know what's going on now.
You know, how you doing, John?
Nice to meet you.
Another new member of another new one. It depends. What's your file? Actually, just moved down there for St. Paul. Yeah, I was there for about a year and a half. And served 7 years back. I don't know. My wife was from St. Augustine, so yeah, I know St. Augustine very well. Sometimes I speak with them. Yep. Well, I know where you're at.
Ran around.
I did.
2 weeks ago, I remember.
Yep.
Are you good on it?
Happy I am.
Congratulations on being across the back. This is a different calendar. Gets there. From up there, what's what
Spring Christmas off movie.
No. Highly educated, very attractive, and full of vinegar. What would be? Very good to have you. Family came. Nice to meet you. You're a new member today. Well, past Iowa. There's no Rotarian left down here now.
That way came here.
We've all moved up here.
My husband's a crystal white.
I think my nose where something.
He'll be online here.
Wow.
Yeah. Packed up, you both have them, but a little bit of most packed.
It's not like they're like, it's not real deep. It's not like.
How that even going? Some area
Well, you know, I'm a man of Mac.
So remember yeah.
9 miles. Yeah, hard.
This is the first day in the car about meeting each other last year. We can go. They'll get free. And
I'll tell you what, it's bad for nine.
so we gotta know it's real. Don't get infections.
I'm like, Mom.
It is lost.
So she got her power back early that night.
How long is it here?
So the people came down there to have water. That's what we're talking about.
I got that.
I got it.
Well, that was kind of saving your chance.
All right, well, I have a good part. I got a couple here.
Luke is gonna put you right here. So I don't put myself down that free. My mom was in her comment points on your day. They don't have nothing else in common, and it's just fine.
So, where is the
Good afternoon. Welcome to our Thursday speaker program. I'm Ashit Patel, your club president, and we have about 4 or 5 minutes for fellowship before we get started with today's program. So thank you for those joining us on Zoom as well. You can chat or do whatever you want behind the scenes.
Oh, I see. No, that's good.
Well, good afternoon again. My name is Ashish Patel. I'm your club president, and welcome to our last speaker program meeting for this month. We do have a rotation day that'll be next Thursday at the University of Minnesota Rochester campus. So don't drive up to the Twin Cities, but we'll just go downtown. And Chancellor Carroll will be hosting us and giving us a tour for those who can sign up and make it. So again, we have Sherston in Denmark, and Joseph's filling in as best as we both can. So you can go ahead and turn to the next slide. Our goals for this year to create an environment of fellowship, which you just did an experience for 4 minutes. Support a community that encourages education and service learning, as well as mentoring and peer coaching, and broadening our connections between local and global for promoting eco-sustainability as well as health. This month is Youth Service Month, and we celebrated TIA's Youth Exchange last program, which was phenomenal and lots to learn from to apply to our situation here. And this is just a nice quote that reminds us, if you really want to change the world, you have to start with inspiring young people. And I would say in our club, also America's and legacy situations. And that's how we change the world, at least in our inner lives. Next. So we'll just take a few minutes to remind us of the importance of the pulmonary practice. So just try to be pleasantly disconnected from everyone else and everything else, and breathe in peace and calm. And that helps me also get a little less nervous up here. And remember our intention for building fellowship, for understanding the power of Rotary and how we can make a small difference in a complicated world. And as we don't forget to breathe out with loving kindness and smile, and just be your authentic selves. You can keep doing that in the background while we go through the rest of the program. Next. So did someone sign up for the 4-way test, or do I have to pick a volunteer? Dave?
Well, I tell you what, there we go. Okay, before we test, of all the things we can say or do, first is the truth. Second is that everyone is concerned. Third, with goodwill and better friendships, and more will be beneficial to all concerned.
Yes. And fifth?
Oh, and fifth, have fun.
Thank you, Dave, and we will honor the Alzheimer's Association later. Also, we had last week's program, or the week before that, Tia presented, so this is her remembrance of her excellent program and how the youth can teach all of us, as well as how Denmark can teach the rest of the world. Her, in the top right there is her mom, who's the club president, and we had the privilege of getting a memento from the mayor's office, a pin of the city, as well as a book of Rochester, and Sherston's going to deliver that to Miss Lund, who's Sherston's mom. Next. I want to take a minute to give blessings to Dave Mortel, our incoming president, in June, and he's traveling to Singapore tomorrow after helping his mom get through a storm yesterday and this morning. So Dave, again, thank you so much for stepping up to take over this role, which I thought was going to be able to fit into a busy clinical schedule, but it takes a little bit more, and the only way it gets done is with everybody stepping up, which our club is amazingly done well for creating hope in the world. Your program, the next 5 days will be to see how Rotary shares the hope that they've had in the world and creates both a combination of magic and mundane reality into building a world where together people can unite, take action to create lasting positive change around the world and in our communities and in ourselves. So,
Dave, the last convention in Singapore was my privilege to attend, so I think that was around 2000 or so, 2001, something like that, maybe 1998, I don't remember exactly. But the planes were safe then, and I trust they will be again by now.
Well, I understand one of our Rotarians kind of got shook up on a flight from England to Singapore on Singapore Airlines. It was pretty tragic. They actually broke his back. It was tough. Yeah, yeah. Also the same. But I do want to connect with you after the meeting to talk about Singapore.
Wonderful, and please send our best to Dr. Shields and Jerome and the others that are attending from our district. Next. So a moment for reflection, and in the context of today's speaker presentation, I'd love to just read a reflection from Michael Josephson. This was shared with the Celebration of Life program that the spiritual care group puts on at Mayo in honor of all those that passed and have donated their bodies for the advancement of science and medicine. So it's titled, Live a Life That Matters. Ready or not, someday it will all come to an end. There will be no more surprises, no minutes, hours, or days. All the things you collected, whether treasured or forgotten, will pass to someone else. Your wealth, fame, and temporal power will shrivel to irrelevance. It will not matter what you owed or what you were owed. Your grudges, resentments, frustrations, and jealousness will finally disappear. So too, your hopes, ambitions, plans, and to-do lists will expire. The wins and losses that once seemed so important will fade away. It won't matter where you came from. It won't matter whether you were beautiful or brilliant or bald. Even your gender and skin color will be irrelevant. So what will matter? What will matter is not what you bought, but what you built. Not what you got, but what you gave. What will matter is not your success, but your significance. What will matter is not what you learned, but what you taught. What will matter is every act of integrity, compassion, and courage or sacrifice that enriched, empowered, or encouraged others to emulate your example. What will matter is not your competence, but your character. What will matter is not how many people you knew, but how many will feel a lasting loss when you're gone. What will matter is not your memories, but the memories of those who loved you. What will matter is how long you will be remembered, by whom and for what. Living a life that matters doesn't happen by accident. It happens by choice and by grace. Rotarians, you are an amazing group of kindred spirits, and the work we have ahead and the types of stories that we all will build to improve the future of not just Rochester, but our communities is well worth the effort. And regardless of how many metrics or measures that Audrey wants me to put on a dashboard, some of these things are meant to be held in your heart and are immeasurable. I just added that. You know, you have to do what moves you, right? From the inside, stay authentic. So thank you for creating a safe space where I can be myself and carry on. Next. Birthdays and anniversaries, these were published on the last item. So Judy, if you want to lead the way with singing, I left it blank because I didn't have time to fill it all out from last week. So happy birthday to those who have birthdays, and happy anniversary to those who had and have anniversaries for this month. So,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Frank, and many more. Dave, do you want to help with happy thoughts and happy bucks?
I do, and I'm going to start by putting some happy bucks of my own in, because I was very happy to hear last night at 9 o'clock my mother finally got her power back. Who has a happy thought for today? There we go.
So my happy blast is done. Actually, this one was for you, because last time when you did happy blast, you said you were happy the Twins win.
Yeah.
They just beat Chicago. Well, I ate my words and I'm doing happy blast for you.
Well.
I just want to share that I'm excited. I'm heading up to my nephew's high school graduation this evening, and have been informed that he will be playing football at St. John's. And I'm a Johnny, so go Johnnies.
Congrats.
My buck, and that is just a buck. I'm glad Al DeBoer is back. You don't know that. He has been in Rotary 55 years. And we got him 2 years, he snuck me in. And I have been, well, I mean, I won't tell you how it was, but he's coming back. And you know, he shoots his golf as his age. Now he's either really old or really good.
Right in front of my parents, the tornado went 4 miles northeast of their farm and we were just fine.
Oh, good day here. So you have a rebuttal?
I share full blame for bringing Lee into broadcast.
Thanks, Dave. I just wanted to let everybody know, finally, my granddaughter graduated cum laude from Mankato State in Mass Communications. So she's on to the tax-paying world now. Good luck to her.
Excellent. Congrats.
I took the word that my son and grandson are going to come to visit me for my birthday, and they're coming from North Carolina. So I didn't expect that I'd see them. So this is joy for me. They're coming up. Yay.
Others? Yes.
I look forward to this weekend because Monday is a very important holiday. It's Memorial Day. And so we've always celebrated veterans on Veterans Day, but I've always felt Memorial Day is special because we are free for those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. So get over to Soldiers Field Memorial this weekend, or that's something that I'm very happy about.
Thanks, Frank. Yes.
I am happy for my 5-year-old granddaughter who is printing her own name now and also printing things like Grandpa and Grandma, I love you. It's like, oh, and so she graduates. So she's going to graduate from preschool this summer. So we love Addie.
Who else? Ashley.
Thank you, Dave. I was glad to celebrate my daughter graduating from medical school at St. Louis University this weekend. I had the privilege to hood her as well, and it went without a glitch. She's about this tall, and she's went dead down enough so I didn't have to get it in her head. I'm going up this Friday to Edmonton, Alberta, where my childhood was, and my brother's turning 60, so I'll be celebrating with him. He's my middle brother, and his son is graduating from high school, so it'll be a little surprise. But thank you for the opportunity and safe travels, Dave. So the extra is for you.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, and with that, we met our goal of 1,000, raising 1,000 over the last 6 months. So thank you for making the club happy as well. It'll offset some of our budget as Frank is trying to optimize our productivity and all that business stuff. Vicki, if you'd like to come up and help with introducing our yourself.
Oh, dear. Sorry. Fellow friends, my privilege to welcome two transferring members from into our clubs. We welcome Mark Dockery and Don McKee. And we invite them to come forward with their sponsor, Army veteran, Don Lucker. I'll go first. So Mark Dockery moved to Rochester in March of this year to begin work as the new Director of Stewardship and Development for the Diocese of Winona Rochester. Prior to Rochester, Mark served as a donor relations officer for Catholic Community Schools in St. Cloud, and before that was the campaign director for the Diocese of Austin, Texas. Mark and his wife Robin have been married for 32 years and have 3 adult daughters, all of whom live in Chicago. Mark previously served with the St. Cloud Rotary and is excited to continue his service here in Rochester. While Mark currently commutes to Winona for work, he'll be located in the new chancery in Rochester across from Lourdes High School starting July 1st. Mark is a St. John's University graduate, as you let us know, and is assisting with their 35th year class reunion in June. He hopes all St. John's and St. Ben's alums attend 10 of the reunions in the 21st to the 23rd. Mark enjoys hiking with his wife and dog and is learning to golf. He says he's still horrible and enjoys live music and theater productions. Mark.
It's always a great day in Rotary to welcome 2 new members into the club. And it's my honor today to present my good friend John McKee for induction. I know it says John Meyer up there, but after I saw Meyer, I thought, John, you finally made it. Anyway, John was born, raised, and educated in Iowa. And that's important because so was Caitlin Clark. And he graduated from Clinton, Iowa High School in 1961 and Wartburg College in Waverly, Iowa in 1965. After serving in the U.S. Army, he returned to Waverly and began a 50-year career in real estate brokerage and development. John is married to Rosemary, and between them, they have 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. John joined the Waverly Club in his early 20s and was president of the club in 1978 and 79. John is also a Paul Harris Fellow. John moved to Florida in 2017 and also bought a condo in Rochester so he and Rosemary could volunteer at the Mayo Clinic, where he has been a patient for over 30 years. Now a full-time resident of Rochester, they wish to become involved in the Rochester community on a year-round basis. Please welcome John McKee.
Mark and John, you have been invited back into Rotary because you are an outstanding person in the community and in your chosen walk of life. Thus, we welcome you once again into Rotary membership and in the fellowship of Rotary International throughout the world. As you are aware, the model of Rotary is service above self. We committed to the personal care of each Rotarian so that it may be respected and allowed to grow among those with whom we come to come. We ask you to wear a new brand proudly as a member of our club, and we extend your warm welcome and friendship with us all. And at the end of the meeting, we'll have the 4 of you at the back so everybody can reach you and welcome you to our club. Please welcome our new members, Mark and John.
Lee, can you see through your lenses? Here. Right, on this face of lights. Oh, okay. This way. There you go. And this way. There we go. Thank you. John, do you have, you want me to say your quick?
Well,
Yeah, just take 1 minute.
I just wanted to say one quick thing. I was here 2 weeks ago as a guest of Don, who is, I should call him past District Governor Don, longtime friend. And one of the things that I experienced 2 weeks ago at this meeting here with you was the bell. The sound of the bell awoke the spirit of Rotary in me again, which has been missing for 7 years after retirement.
And I guess also the sound of the bell reminded me of completing radiation at the Mayo Clinic 12 years ago. I'm proud to be a cancer survivor. Those two things, they go together in that spirit. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to be a member of your club. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. Melbourne Convention last year, the Rotarians installed 4 bells in Melbourne Park as part of the tribute and legacy. Each bell reminds you to, as you ring it, to think about how to improve yourself towards peace and goodwill understanding, how to build community, how to change the world, and then how to leave a legacy. So it's a beautiful, fitting comment that you made. So, next. So just a few comments, and we'll leave the 400-page script to Lee to introduce our keynote speaker. A lot going on in our club, just a tribute to the excellent work of all of you. I will just read off of these, and we'll pick a couple just to save time. So ethics and peace building, the posters went really well. They're up here. Please take a few minutes at the end of the meeting to celebrate what Sarah and a whole bunch of other people have put together and invested in the youth as part of not only youth service, but peace building. Mariana did a nice wrap up with Audrey's coaching for mentor program version 2.0, and we're looking to carry on a version 3.0 with 2 co-leads. We'd like to have a young professional and anyone here who's interested in mentoring and having a great experience with the young professionals for next year. White Oak Park cleanup, thank you to Joseph and the team, really bringing the 5-way test into full fruition, and I'll show you what that looked like. Chris and Colin, thank you so much to help organize the 3 Club experience with the phase 1 of clearing buckthorn. Only one person got a minor injury. Everyone else saved a few scrapes that did really well. And I'll show you one picture. Colin, do you want to make any other comments? Or Chris?
No, not other than I could mention that what it was intended as 1 phase may actually need to be 2, because there's a lot more to be done than we were able to get done in a couple of hours. So.
Okay, well, thank you. For those online, Chris said that he had a great time and he wants to go back to do a 2nd round before they do phase 2 next year. Oh, and he's looking for help. Marilyn, you want to make a comment about Cook for Kids and your wonderful turnout there? And
just want to do a shout out and a big thank you to the volunteers from this past Tuesday. Alphabetically, they were Audrey Venture, Joseph C., Cynthia Dowdy, myself, Tamsin Weimer, and her friend Alexis Rodeberg, Melody Trimble, and Lindsay Jane. And besides either preparing food or purchasing food or volunteering to serve that evening, actually we all got to be very, very flexible because of the weather. I and the volunteer coordinator decided in the morning that it would be safer for us to not be there during a potential tornado or whatever was going to happen. And so I reached out via email to all of the volunteers who still had to deliver food or, come there to serve. I was able to reach everyone. Everyone dropped off their food by 2 o'clock. And so we were not able to actually serve the families that evening, but the food was all left there for them to take to their apartments in takeout containers. So it was still a success, 37 families. So those 37 moms have anywhere from between 1 to 5 children. So there's probably, 75 people or so that were benefited from the meal. Our next meal will be Tuesday, September 17th. So look forward to having you assist. Thanks.
Thank you, Marilyn. And again, the save the date, next Thursday, it's at UMR for Rotation Day, and we look forward to that tour. Rochester Fest, I have to put a plug in for Christine. Do you want to go ahead and share your share your royal card? And I'm going to pass around the buttons. These are the bargain buttons that were $5 each, but they're free for you today.
So we got 2 opportunities coming up. One has to do, we need help in the beer tent. So if you're looking, want to help pour beer, I will work with the beer tent volunteer to get that sign up out to our club. And then number 2, the big thing is coming up Thursday, June 27th. We're going to have an all service club luncheon. That means everybody from Kiwanis, everybody from Rotary, everybody from Exchange Club. If you're a service club, we're inviting you down to Rochester Fest for fellowship, networking, and support the fest. So look for that. There's no sign up, just show up down to the fest and stay all day.
Next, and the next 40 days or so, you'll be seeing a Where's Ash? And I'll be taking pictures at different locations throughout the city with the answer coming the next day. We'll see how that works, but this is the crown that you're going to look for. It was custom made by my special Pony Function Lab team. You have to have fun, right? All right, next 2 slides, and then we'll let Lee come up here. So there's a picture of the crew at Quarry Hill. And there's a picture of Joseph having fun and not having fun on the White Oak Park cleanup. Next. And there's a, Dave, do you want to make a quick comment about lithium battery recycling? This is what you can turn in or not.
Right. So thank you for having this slide up. We haven't had a whole lot of participation yet with the lithium battery collection. So I just wanted to really quickly highlight some things that you could bring in. Old cell phones, electronic toothbrushes, hat clippers, electric shavers, cordless vacuums, mixers or blenders that are battery powered, robot vacuums, electric lawnmower batteries, laptops, tablets. The list goes on, and you can see them on the slide. But please think about that for an upcoming meeting. The boxes here will be here at all upcoming meetings, and we're also going to do some additional activity with Rochester Fest.
Thank you so much, Dave. Lee, on to you for the keynote speaker. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, we're for the big speech. Dr. Ed Creagan is a cancer specialist who practiced at Mayo Clinic for more than 40 winters until he was transferred into the digital wellness arena in 2018. He was the first Mayo Clinic consultant certified in hospice and palliative medicine. Dr. Creagan has received a distinguished Mayo Clinic Award, Mayo's Clinic's highest honor. He completed an elected term as the president of Mayo staff. He also received the Ellis Island Medal of Honor for contributions of descendants of immigrants. He's the author of over 500 scientific papers and has given more than 1,000 presentations. This will be his 3rd presentation for our, so it might be 9,900. He's the author of a triple award-winning book, now revised with information on COVID and telemedicine, called How Not to Be My Patient, doctors' secrets for staying healthy and disturbing any diagnosis. His latest book is about death and dying. It's titled Farewell,
and improves answer to the vital end of life questions patients and families ask. This book is recently translated into American. Each of these books have been sold on Amazon. Dr. Creagan blogs regularly on askdred.com and posts daily on Instagram. Dr. Creagan will share a practical insight on the end of life conversation with 4,000 terminal illness patients and their families. They'll be demystified the importance of palliative medicine and hospital, the crucial roles addressing real, illegal, and financial decisions at the end of life. We owe it to our families to lessen that burden. You only get one life to get it. Please come in.
Yeah.
And Ed started off moving next door to me in 1827.
Tremendous privilege and honor to be here. I'd like to thank Suzanne Denison, who started this opportunity for me to be here. What I'm going to share with you over the next 25 minutes or so is the most important presentation you will ever hear. This is a big deal. This is Game 7. We only get one chance to get this right. And I was really touched by what Dr. Ashot talked about in terms of what matters. Every year, Mayo Clinic has acknowledgement of retirees. And many of these individuals are in this room tonight and have changed the history of medicine. The length of applause for these heroes is 7 seconds. 7 seconds. So how quickly we forgot. I would probably get 8 because I was staff president for a couple of years. And I told my wife, hey, best friend, my running partner, that at my funeral, she can hand out all my reprints and all the book chapters that I wrote. So the things that we think are really crucial are relatively irrelevant. And what Dr. Ashot talked about, number one was compassion. It means to suffer with, and everyone in this room has suffered. You've had some big hits, but you're here, you show up, and you make a difference. And who's going to remember us? And equally importantly, how have we touched the lives of individuals? So I might add that everything that I'm going to share with you is in our latest book, Farewell. And let me emphasize that this is gluten-free. So if you eat the book, you're not going to have any digestive issues. And for those of you who speak Mandarin, our latest book also is translated into Mandarin. And I have webinars to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and Beijing several times each month. So there's a technology check at 11 o'clock at night. Then I'm live from 12 to 2 in the morning. So there's some gentleman on a yak someplace with a cell phone looking at me talking about schlepping books. So we're all connected here. All of this information is available in the slides, and either Lee, Vicky, or Suzanne have access to these slides. There's no copyright thing. So if you want to give a presentation, just access the slides because we're all in the same bucket here. Here's my email address. Make a mental note of this. You're survivors, you're resilient, you're durable, or you wouldn't be here. You want to take screenshots by all means. And at some moment, you may awaken with an insight, a perspective of how we go the distance. The world is disintegrating while we're here, and we don't have to go into that. But the times are different. They're probably different. Ask Dr. Ed is my handle for my blog. And it's interesting, I have a population of peoples of prominence and prosperity that share details of their lives with me every day. For example, some of these are celebrities, these are mothers, these are prominent people. And the number one fear is that my children would be kidnapped. My parents were hoping I'd be kidnapped. But those that we don't necessarily worry about. So it's best to be relatively anonymous. And I'm on Instagram. Mayo hired an Instagram coach for me. Here it is, Instagram. And I also have 7 videos per day on TikTok. Now I know it's controversial, but these social media platforms are transforming the world as we know it. And if we're not part of the platform, one of our colleagues was a union organizer. And he said, you know, if you don't have a seat at the table, you become the banquet. So I think, you know, we need to realize that it's a digital world, okay? Here's the copy of the book. It's on Amazon. We're remodeling the kitchen. Times are tough, so please get the book for the holidays. Now, here's the book from China. And I was surprised that when the book came out, they had a picture of me playing the piano. The greatest pianist in the world today is Lan Lan from Beijing, played at the Olympics of a couple of years ago. The audience was 2 billion people. And there were discussions of my playing, take me out to the ball game in the Great Hall. You know, I'm good, but I'm not that good. And one of our colleagues was from Wartburg College in Iowa. My music teacher graduated from Wartburg. This is an alpha woman that I've been with for 20 years. And she said, I love you, baby, but you ain't no Billy Joel, so you better keep your medical license out. So let me tell you the rest of the story, okay? I grew up in a racetrack environment. My father was a jockey's agent. He represented the jockey to the horse, and that just became part of our life, okay? Now, this is my stepfather. Now, pay attention to this. This is my mother's second or third husband, depending upon how you count. And he was part of the greatest generation. He was involved in the invasion of Italy, Monte Cassino and Anzio. We're talking about hand-to-hand combat in the winter of the frozen Alps, 1943, 1944, part of the greatest generation. So he came back from the war, 1946, and bought a bar and 2 liquor stores in Newark, New Jersey. You can't make this up. He came to Mayo with advanced lung cancer. It was not a good scene. He then moved back to New Jersey because of indictment or some administrative misunderstanding, which was not his fault. And when I went to visit him, he had a miserable exit, nausea, vomiting, constipation, pain. Had he had a palliative care person, he would have died the death of peace. He dies in 1996. And he never adopted me, but for some reason, I inherited a bar and 2 liquor stores in Newark, New Jersey. And I can honestly tell you, for the first time in my life, I had a headache. And I need to tell you, because this is ancient history, if a beer was $1, they only rang up 85 cents. Okay, do I have to draw you a picture? Do you understand? You have to understand where I'm going with this. So when he died, there was a piggy bank of 7 figures. Nobody paid taxes on it. And to make it worse, I found out that there was a woman who was my stepsister that I had never met. So this was the perfect storm. And I realized how vulnerable I was about estate planning. I knew nothing about this. I knew nothing about end-of-life stuff. So I want to share with you what I learned and what we really need to know. Okay, the person on our right is Prince. We all know generically he died without a will. $1 bazillion was left on the table for about 10 years. Okay, who is this? Aretha Franklin. She died a couple of years ago, and I didn't know this. She had lots of money in properties, prime properties in Minneapolis. Nobody knew who was going to be getting what. When she was moving, somebody found a sofa, and in the sofa was a handwritten note by Aretha Franklin saying that somebody got access to her estate, other people did not. So you can imagine what a nightmare that was. Okay. John Denver, does anybody know where he grew up? Useless pieces of trivia, and he died of all places. When he died, it took 7 years to adjudicate his will and the trust. So you can imagine the suffering. Anybody recognize this gentleman? Chief Justice Blackmun, okay, the top attorney for Mayo, died without a will. I'd like to have him representing me when you had a serious problem. Okay? So let's talk about Mayo, for example. Now, you're all people to prominence and prestige, obviously educated. So several years ago, Mayo was undergoing an administrative restructuring. So they recruited a gentleman who was the CEO of a series of big box companies in another state. Comes to Rochester, a heavy hitter, MBA, CPA, Master's Healthcare Administration, that sort of thing. He developed cancer of the colon. Bad situation, things weren't going well. I sort of knew the family. They asked me to stop by on the way home and visit with him. So we chatted about where this journey may go. We talked about options and alternatives. And as I went out the door, I said, gee, are all the dots dotted? Are all the files closed about those nagging nuisances, these financial things? Again, very dismissive. I said, okay, this was a third rail. I wasn't going to go there. Family asked me to stop back the next week because there was a pain situation. We talked about it. So, by the way, everything's squared away with the lawyers and you say, oh, no problem. Well, guess what? He died and nothing was done. Nothing was done. And I saw his wife 4 years after he died. She says, you know, Dr. Ed, I have been in a fog for 5 years. Because every day there was a bill, there was a phone call, and all of this could have been avoided. So we owe it to our families to do our homework and take care of this stuff. Because the future depends on what we do today. This ain't the kind of thing we can pass off. And let me give you an example of what happened. I have a Holter monitor on my right belt here. And the reason I had the monitor is that I had an event 10 years ago. And this was a life-transforming event. So I'm in the back of the ambulance. The ambulance is on its way to St. Mary's Hospital. And I said, you know, the last time we saw someone with this condition, they never made it to the hospital. Okay, kind of gets being a very insightful, bright, famous doctor from him, but I kind of got the picture. He said, I don't think you're going to make it to the hospital. So we get to the hospital, and if it wasn't for the care at Mayo, I'd be dead today. And we don't realize what's across the street in terms of global expertise. Give me a break. Obviously, it ain't perfect. There's warts and wrinkles, but when the chips are down and it's game 7, this is where you want to be. So this bracelet, maybe, could you just say what does it say on that? What are the initials? We didn't rehearse any of this.
The code DNR.
Okay, that's all you have to say. DNR, what does that mean? Okay, good. What does it mean? DNR. Do not resuscitate. Because I was in a bad spot. This could have had a very unhappy ending. And what I did not want is to have my heart stop and wind up on a respirator, a ventilator, my heart shocked, all sorts of antibiotics with hyphenated name. And if an antibiotic has a hyphenated name, it's not going to work. You know, I thought I was pretty funny, but you're looking at me like, hey, Suzanne, I'm not going to do this again. You said they would love you.
I think it's the word dead.
So what I'm trying to say that Lord forbid any one of us wind up in the hospital, you have name recognition. It's just the way it is. And if we don't decide the quality of our life, if we don't decide the aggressiveness of care, a group of strangers with masks and gloves will do it for us. And their decision for us may not be the decision that we want. So we need to take ownership, we need to take charge. So we go to the hospital, routine checkup, everything's fine, we think we're gonna live forever. But in a heartbeat, everything can change. Everything can change. And that's not the time to be thinking about who gets the combine, who gets the corn futures, blah, 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 blah. So let's talk about a couple of these chapters, and I'm very sensitive about time here. Firstly, patients often ask, how long do I have? And let me just share with you, for many years, I cared for a woman and her husband, remarkable couple. And they were like Donnie and Marie, they kind of completed each other's sentences, you know, those kind of, they even looked alike. So it was clear that treatments were not working. The disease had spread into her liver. And she said, Dr. Creagan, how long do you think I will live? And I said, Mrs. So-and-so, why is that an important question for you? She says, well, Dr. Ed, I want to max out his credit card so there's nothing left in the second one. So that's my idea. She puts it.
See, we're laughing.
Yes. Because the second hour is going to be better. Hey, actually, where does the limo pick me up? Is it? I have to tell you, I spoke at a high school, and I used that joke about the limo. And there was a little kid that said, hey, I want to go out and see the limo. So that little kid's out of the will. The question often comes up, how long will I live? And we don't know, but yet we do know. We have a ballpark figure that the patient deserves to know. For example, here we are in May. Let's suppose we have an advanced cancer of the lung or the pancreas, where the average survival is about 6 months. Now, patients don't expect us to say it's 6 months in one day, but we can give them a ballpark figure. Thank you. Is this Perrier? But I think we have a responsibility to let you know as we get into the Viking season and so on, we need to be prepared for some setbacks. When I do this in Madison, Wisconsin, I got to be careful. You deserve, I deserve to have a ballpark figure of how long I may live so I can welcome home the prodigal son. I can wait to see Susie get out of boot camp and those sorts of things. So give me a ballpark figure. Now, let's suppose we are sick, things don't look good. If we are in bed or in a chair for more than half of our waking hours, we will probably live about 3 to 4 months. Generic ballpark, each one of us is different. So if we're in bed or in a chair for more than half of our waking hours because of our illness, the chances are our survival is about 3 to 4 months. So that gives us time to connect the dots, do the heavy lifting of things that need to be done, okay? But we must, without exception, leave open that window of hope. We take hope from someone, that's total existential devastation. And every one of you has had the experience of knowing someone who had a serious prognosis, a worrisome outcome, and yet they continue to do well. So I think hope must be realistic, it must be palpable, it must be granular, but leaving open that window of uncertainty. Now, I'm not sure if the sound works here, but when I came through the birth canal, there was a lot of kids around me. Just, this is going to get you sticked up in here. And they heard take me out to the ball game, but here was what I heard. Can you increase the sound? Uh-oh, that's a bad sign. Please.
Okay, we'll try it one more time. Hold on.
Let's go back.
Wait with the mic.
Here it goes. By the way, we'll talk about Mystic Dan, who is the one at Kentucky Derby. Just stick with for a couple of minutes here. Now, here's the horse race. Now listen to this one. Cell phones.
And now, I was here, so I think that I could just have a final
Is when the real crews come on the stage.
my case, of which I'm certain
Die without a will.
I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and all
So in the interest of time, we need to understand advanced directives because our life depends on it, the future of our family's welfare depends on it. An agent of reproduction, who speaks for us if we can't speak for ourselves? If I had a cardiac arrest in St. Mary's emergency room on May 10, it would have left a mess. And 2 years ago, my wife Peg and I spent about 30 hours going through this kind of stuff because we have copyrights, e-rights, royalties, that sort of stuff. And I wanted to make sure that if I die, Peggy makes one phone call to resolve it. And being at Mayo, I had the privilege of caring for a number of consultants. Typically, they were males. And they were from an era where he controlled the pocketbook. He took care of all that kind of stuff. And upon his death, the widows were absolutely devastated. They had no idea about estate planning. They had no, who's going to pay the bills? Thank goodness, we have people like Frank Allen here, and he and his team were marvelous, holding the hands of these women during the darkest days of their lives. Who pays for the mortgage? Who pays for the car? Who pays for college tuition? These were women from an era who didn't take ownership. So who speaks for us if we can't speak for ourselves? And second, what level of aggressiveness do we want? We should be able to leave here right now and find your advance directive. It should be embedded into the Mayo Clinic record. Now, we also have in our record, Peggy is my proxy, I'm hers. If I'm in a situation where there's no reasonable probability of benefit, I do not want yada, yada, yada. And if we don't speak up, some gloved and gowned armada of robots are going to come in, they're like Yoda, and they'll be making decisions for us. And we also put in our advanced directives a timetable. With COVID, we made it crystal clear. If we're hospitalized because of COVID, and if we ain't better within 30 days, all this stuff stops. Because you and I know we can languish in a unit across the street forever and burn through everybody's assets. Now in our advanced directives, rather than 30 days, 20 days. If we're hospitalized with a serious problem and we're not better after 20 days, the smart money is going to say, this is not going to have a happy ending. So we need to take ownership. We can't let an amorphous organization dictate to us how we want to live and how we want to go. So Creagan.edward@mayo.edu, you will have an insight, you will have some perspective on this. And I bet everyone in this room has had some nightmare story of people who had sloppy estate planning, and it cost the family an enormous amount of spiritual energy. So, Suzanne, thanks for this opportunity. I'm deliberately stopping early because you all have the keys to the kingdom with you right now, but if you're in the back of an ambulance, you don't want to be writing your will under the glare of an ICU monitor. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed. Because of the interest of time,
Yes.
if you can stay a few minutes afterwards for people who have questions.
Yes.
Help them through that 2-hour process of, answering.
This is game 7. We put this off, it ain't gonna be a happy springtime.
Thank you again. One more round of applause, and then we have the stuff of
Ed, thank you very much. For the 3rd time, which is absolutely incredible. And I have something for you. I have given you a Paul Harris. Oh, thank you. And Paul Harris started Rotary back in 1905. Mm-hmm. And thank you. I'm giving you this, and then you have a well, thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody knows what this is about.
We'll grab a picture. Make sure you have the right certificate.
Yes.
Is it okay if I hold this too?
There we go.
Because he got this psychotic.
Keep safe, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. In honor of your excellent presentation and guidance, we will be donating an honorarium in your behalf to the Alzheimer's Association.
Thank you. A big deal. Thank you.
So do you have books for sale here today?
Oh, they're on Amazon.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay.
No, I used to have them in the back of the truck. That's a bad thing. It's not sure that's the shit's no class. But it was on Amazon. So if you don't really want to speak more, because I know a lot of us some kind of people. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Yes, sir. You know, I feel like I'm at home. Everybody tells me what I think I have a seat now.
You can also stand up, or the restrooms out the door and to the left. Thank you. Dr. Creagan's been an excellent mentor and role model for me over my 37 years at Mayo. And resilience, sense of humor, and the skills of a master storyteller are really powerful. For today's meeting, I'd like to thank our reader, then John Woodruff for Sergeant at Arms, Joseph for ably filling in for Sherston, Dave for helping with the four-way test, and Happy Bucks, introduction of guests, and which we forgot that Stephanie's here. Any other guests while we're at it? Thank you, Stephanie. And for today's speaker introduction, Lee Johnson, and our speaker, Ed Creagan. John Woodruff reminds me that we have a sign up there for swag, Rotary swag, if you want to fill that out on the way out and greet our transfer Rotarians, both Mark and John. We are adjourned. Let's go create hope in the world.